You find a home for $300,000. You put $60,000 down. The mortgage payment lands around $1,500 a month, and it feels manageable. So you sign. But by the end of year 5, this home has quietly taken another $47,000 from you, on top of every payment you already expected. None of it was a worst case. It's just the part nobody prices at the open house. Every home has a first price, the one printed on the listing that buyers and sellers fight over for weeks. But owning that home creates a second one. The first price buys the home. The second price is everything you pay to acquire, finance, protect, and maintain it that doesn't directly build equity. You won't see it in the headline, but the day you collect the keys, a second receipt starts printing, and that one keeps going for as long as you own the place. For most people, the second price hides inside the one number they're sure they understand: their monthly payment. Ask a new owner what their home costs each month, and they'll name the mortgage. It feels like one clean number. It isn't. The loan portion of your payment splits in two. Part of it pays down the principal. That's the money that buys back a slice of the home and becomes your equity. You're not losing it, you're moving it into something you own. The other part is interest. That's the true cost of borrowing, and it's gone the moment it leaves you. And the payment your lender collects often isn't only the loan. In many cases, it also carries your property taxes and insurance bundled in and paid on your behalf. So the number you call your mortgage may already combine several completely different things into one withdrawal. And even once you understand all of them, you still haven't seen the whole second price. It starts long before your first payment, with the cost of getting through the door. There are closing costs. On a $300,000 home in the United States, that's often somewhere between $6,000 and $15,000. Treat that as an American example, not a global rule, because the fees and taxes at closing look very different from one country to the next. Then come the first repairs you didn't expect on a home you just bought. Now one of these deserves special care. The down payment. It's the largest check most buyers ever write, so it feels like the most painful cost of all, but it isn't a cost the way the others are. The cash leaves your account, but the value doesn't disappear. It becomes equity in the home. So the keys arrive with a wave of one-time costs. You pay them once, you feel the sting, and then they're behind you. The costs that shape your life as an owner are the ones that keep coming back. Some parts of the second price arrive on a schedule: property taxes, home insurance, mortgage insurance, if your down payment was small, and in many neighborhoods, association fees on top of all of it. In the United States, several of these often get folded into that same monthly payment through escrow, which is exactly why owners stop seeing them as separate costs at all. At least they're predictable. You can plan for a number that lands on the same day every time. The costs that break budgets are the ones that refuse to follow a calendar. Every home is quietly aging while you live in it. The roof is getting older, the furnace is wearing down, the plumbing, the appliances, the water heater, all of it is moving one day closer to failing, and none of it fails politely. It doesn't send a monthly invoice. It waits, sometimes for years, and then it asks for thousands of dollars in a single afternoon. This is the part of the second price that does the most damage, because it's the part people plan for the least. A common rule of thumb suggests holding back somewhere between 1% and 4% of your home's value each year for maintenance and repairs. That range isn't a prediction of what the home will cost. It's a reserve target, because the owners who get hurt aren't the ones who spend on repairs. They're the ones holding nothing in reserve when the repair arrives. And this is where owning quietly divides people. Not by income, by whether they saw the second price coming before they signed or met it one painful bill at a time. So how do you see the whole thing before you sign? Because every home, loan, and location is different, no single percentage can reveal the whole cost. You build it yourself with 3 numbers of your own. The first is your cash needed before move-in, not just the down payment. Add the closing costs, the inspection, the move itself, and the first repairs you already know are coming. This is the money that has to exist before you sleep in the home. The second is your true monthly housing payment. Start with the full payment your lender quotes you. Then add only the costs that aren't already inside it. If your taxes and insurance are already bundled in, you don't count them twice. You're building one honest number, not stacking fear on top of fear. The third is your annual repair reserve. Take that one to 4% range. Use it as a starting point, then adjust for the home's age, its condition, and the major systems already nearing replacement. Set that money aside every year before you ever need it. 3 numbers. Together, they show whether you can afford the home itself, not just qualify for the loan. This isn't an argument against buying. It's an argument against budgeting for the loan and forgetting the home. The first price is the one the home shows you. The second price is the one you have to find for yourself. And now you know how to read it before it starts printing. So here's my question. Of everything hiding inside the second price, which cost would have caught you off guard the most? And if you're still wondering whether buying is even the right move for your money, that's a different question with a real answer. Watch that next. I'll see you there.